Currency. As the name implies, this refers to how current or up-to-date the information is. Your assignment may require that you only use information that is 2, 5, or 10 years old. You'll want to know how to determine the age of a resource. Website dates can be misleading. Look for a copyright symbol or a last updated statement. Your topic will also influence how current your research needs to be. Medical information should always be as up-to-date as possible, whereas the analysis of a Shakespeare play could be older. Here are several examples from Statistics Canada. You can see that they clearly date their content throughout their website. On news, right here, on statistics themselves, right here, and on individual web pages at the bottom. Relevance. In this step, you are determining how the information applies to your topic. Read your assignment carefully. Are you required to use a specific type of source? You may have found a great video on your topic, but has your instructor stated that you can only use articles or books? Is the content specific and detailed, or more general in nature? What is needed for your paper? Who is the material for? Is it written at an appropriate level for an academic paper, or is it written for a general audience? And have you looked at a variety of sources before determining if this is the one you'll use? So let's apply relevancy to these two articles. We need relevant resources for a college-level paper about penguins. Take a time to pause the video, and based on just what you see here, which article is for a general audience and which one is for someone who is already well established in the field, and which one would you choose for your college paper? Authority. Who is the author or authors? Is their name clearly stated along with their credentials? An author can also be a group or organization, not always a person, but the same criteria applies. What is the author's area of expertise? Are they qualified to write on the topic? For example, someone in the medical field will have their medical designation after their name, such as MD for doctor or RN for a registered nurse. If the author is writing on a medical topic with no medical background, how authoritative is the article? Look to see if the author is stating facts or opinions. If you are looking at information online, always check the About section of the website for help to determine authority. So let's apply authority to a health information website called Natural News. Take the time to go to the website and determine what is the goal of naturalnews.com. Their founder is Mike Adams. Can you find any information about him? Be careful of taking information online at face value. Mike Adams makes several claims about his medical background, but never supplies credentials. Also, looking elsewhere on the internet, we see articles debunking the content of Natural News. Accuracy. Do you feel that information is correct and verifiable? Look to see if the author provides references and evidence to support their claims. Is the source part of an edited or peer-reviewed publication? Once again, check the About tab on a website to help determine this. Look to see if you can find other credible sources that support the information. This is known as lateral reading or cross-referencing. For example, you may read a newspaper article on a scientific study. Do they reference the actual study? If so, go and find it. I just mentioned lateral reading. This is when you look outside of the source for additional sources to support or confirm the information within the first source. Are you able to find the same information elsewhere from a reputable source? The opposite is vertical reading, when you look within a source itself to determine the validity and reliability. Doing both helps you get more of a full picture of a source. Let's put accuracy to the test. We often hear the statement that humans only use 10% of their brain. Is this statement accurate? How can you prove or disprove the statement? You need to take a moment to pause the video to think about how you would answer this question. Go ahead. And on the next slide, we'll discuss a few ways to go about verifying this information. When we search online for evidence that supports the statement, the earliest potential source we have is from researcher William James in 1907, where he writes, "Most of us feel as if we lived habitually with a sort of cloud weighing on us. Below our highest notch of clearness in discernment, sureness in reasoning, or firmness in deciding. Compared with what we ought to be, we are only half awake. Our fires are damped, our drafts are checked. We are making use of only a small part of our possible mental and physical resources." All right. However, James does not give a percentage, and he was not speaking about the brain. So what else is there out there? The 10% figure does come in 1936 in Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. He states that his old Harvard professor used to state this in class. However, we don't know the context in which the professor made this claim. But due to the success of the book, the 10% statistic has become widely accepted. And at P, purpose or point of view. So who is the intended audience of the source? Is it for professionals and students or for the general public? What is the author's motivation? Does the source attempt to sell a product or persuade you or to inform you? Is it fact or opinion? What kind of bias does the information have? From whose perspective is it given? It's also important to keep in mind the difference between fact and opinion. Opinions are expression of personal views or beliefs. For example, saying, wearing bike helmets should be mandatory for all riders. Facts, on the other hand, are statements that can be proven true or false, backed by evidence. For example, a research study showed that helmets reduce head injury risk by 60% and brain injury risk by 58%. You can cite facts to support your opinions, but be aware of the difference when reading a source. All right, let's put purpose or point of view to the test. You're looking to buy a new fridge. You're interested in this Frigidaire 4-door refrigerator. On the left, you have the description of the product from Frigidaire. On the right, you have reviews from the product from buyers. What is Frigidaire's motivation or bias versus the motivation or bias of the reviewer? Take some time to pause the video and consider what Frigidaire is attempting to do with their description versus what the reviews are attempting to do in terms of influencing a buyer. All right, now you have a chance to put everything we just learned to the test. So you have a paper to write on the Pacific octopus, also known as the North Pacific octopus, for a college ecology course. You find this website. So when you have some time, I recommend that you open this website and ask yourself, is this a resource CRAAP? So can you find currency? Can you find the date of publication? Relevance. Would this site be appropriate for a college level course? Authority. Who is the author or creator? And what is their credentials or associations? Accuracy. Is the information factual? How do you find out? And purpose. Why does this page exist? What does it try to do? It's quite the fun website. Highly recommend you check it out. In the last several years, we have all heard the term fake news. Fake news is false or misleading information presented as news, and is one of many forms of disinformation that a researcher should be aware of. Disinformation is the deliberate creation and sharing of information known to be false. There's also misinformation, which is the inadvertent sharing of false information. You need to be aware of disinformation so that you don't spread misinformation. There are various types of misinformation with different intentions and impact. A common type is propaganda. This is usually used by governments and corporations, and it appeals to people's emotions. Propaganda is considered to have a neutral impact. See it right here in the top corner. Sponsored content is when advertising is made to look like an editorial, and consumers may not be able to identify the content as an advertisement. Sponsored content is motivated by profit and money and is ranked as having a low impact. However, on the other side of the spectrum, we have, right here at the bottom, bogus information. This is entirely fabricated content used intentionally to disinform. This has a high impact and can lead to real-life consequences. There are consequences to fake news. Widespread misinformation can influence behavior, spread hate, social division, racism, and intolerance. There have been incidences where fake news has resulted in harassment and threats towards people who have survived tragedies and have lost loved ones. Fake news has bolstered science denial and perpetrates movements such as anti-vaccination, flat earthers, climate change denial, and the fight against teaching evolution and sex education in school. Luckily, there's some fact-checking tools that you can use. You might be familiar with the first one here. It's great for checking information that you have found online, internet references. FactsCan can help you check information on Canadian federal politics. And we have a few others that you can take the time to look through. All right, quick review before we end our time here together. It is always a good idea to evaluate resources to ensure you are finding the best quality sources for your research. A checklist, such as the CRAAP test, can help you focus on what to look for. You have to be your own fact checker. Don't believe everything you read without question. And lastly, the library is here to help with finding resources. Don't hesitate to contact yours. I hope you leave here today with a better understanding of evaluating resources using the CRAAP test